What's up everyone and welcome to another cryptocurrency market update. In this video we're going to be talking about Bitcoin as well as Ethereum. We're going to analyze the price action on the weekly time frame all the way down to the 4-hour and talk about some different trade setups that I am currently watching. So let's get into it here and start with Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. Really right now what we have potentially is a tightening pattern here with Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, as we're currently rejecting off of this resistance zone, which is the top of these two bodies of these candles. And you can tell it's a pretty significant resistance zone because as soon as we opened this weekly candle, we pushed down immediately. And so you see the price ran up to this level, but is trading down lower from that level currently. And so what I could see potentially happening over the next couple weeks is actually, which is what a lot of people probably would not want to hear, is potentially, this is something to keep in mind, is a tightening pattern here. Which what that would mean basically is we would, instead of just going straight up to a new all-time high this week, what could end up happening is we end up trading back down, we close somewhere in this range, then the next week we come down below this low, and we come down, we form, let me move this out here, form a higher low in comparison to here. We come up, we form a lower high in comparison to the other one. We come down, we might break down to this level from there, or we could come up here, down, and then go up from there. Now this is just something to keep in mind, but this is what the price action is currently telling me. If we reject off of this daily zone right now, which if we go to the daily time frame, we can see that the price is currently reacting to this red zone almost perfectly right now, and the daily candle closed in 10 hours and 35 minutes. If we end up closing the candle the way that it's looking now, I would expect a move down to at least the gray zone right here. Now this is a zone that I'm currently watching for a long entry. And I really like this zone for a few different reasons. One is on the daily time frame, we have actually excuse me. We've actually changed the trend on the daily time frame for Bitcoin to a valid bullish trend. So we have our low here, a high, higher low in comparison to this one, and then a higher high with this push above here. A very strong push too. You can see the increase in bull volume as we increase in price, signifying that this black candle right here is now going to be a support level for us if we come back down to this level. And why is that? Well, the reason for that is because when we went into this level held as a resistance, and we were rejected off it and pushed down. So if we come back into this level, now that we've closed candles above this level, this is going to be a strong support level, because that's what we would call an support resistance flip zone. So this is confluent with this gray zone right here, which was initially our resistance zone right here, where I made a short entry, which is a good initial trade there. We pushed down, we came into it a second time, reject off it a second time, and then we finally pushed through it. And we closed above it 3 candles now. So if we come back to this level, this is, inside of that gray support zone is also this blue, new, fresh support zone as well. Additionally, if we look at the Ichimoku Cloud on the 12-hour time frame, something else to keep in mind is on the 12-hour time frame, we had an inverse head and shoulders pattern right here with our left shoulder, right shoulder, head, and then right shoulder, and now we broke above. Now it is potentially, sometimes when you get these patterns, you get a retest of the neckline. And so the neckline in this case is where the shoulders met. And you can see that that's this gray zone. It's pretty much we ran into it, rejected off it, ran into it for the right shoulder, rejected off it. So really anywhere, in this gray zone is going to be a good spot to potentially open a long entry. And we have not tested this level yet. I thought I was going to get an entry right here, because my entry points right now are currently sitting on the top of the gray zone, the ultimate top, and then the body of this 12-hour candle right here. Now I might even put a third bid in on the top of this daily zone right here, because the other thing to keep in mind with that is it's actually confluent with this other 12-hour support level right here. So there's a lot of support in this zone. And if the price comes back in this level, I will expect a bounce from this level. And currently right now, you can see the price is trading down off of this level. And if we do end up breaking the previous daily low, which is down here at 54,269, that, in my opinion, will push us most likely down into this zone. Now, the question is, when we get down into this zone, are there going to be enough buyers to propel the price upwards? And in my opinion, I do think that there is. I think that this blue level will almost certainly hold on the first test of it. And so that is something that I personally am going to be keeping an eye on and making sure that I get an entry if we end up getting down here. Just because if we look at this from a long position perspective, where our stop loss would be, there's a couple different ways we could play this. We could either put our stop loss right below the gray zone, which is right here, and we could target either the bottom of that red zone right there, or we could target a new all-time high, or the ultimate target for the inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is about 61K. Now, if it's 61K, that would be about an 18% trade, and about if we put our stop loss below the gray zone and made an entry, on those two gray zones that I said, it would average out somewhere around that price range, and we would get a risk reward ratio of about 6.89, which is really strong. We could also conversely put our stop loss lower than the gray zone and put it below the blue zone. Now, if we put it below the blue zone, you can see that the risk reward ratio changes significantly, especially if we move this down and let's say we don't push to new all-time highs in the next one, and we push only up to this red zone, which is entirely possible if we're considering that on the weekly time frame, we might be getting that tightening pattern. So if we do end up getting that tightening pattern, it would make sense that on the daily time frame, we don't go all the way up to the previous high that we just set right now. If we end up coming down below this daily candle, it'll set that as a high. It would make more sense that we go to right here. So if you put your stop loss way down there, it's probably not a good trade to take, in my opinion, because you can see the risk reward ratio is 0.73 here. This is not the way I'm going to be playing this. I do not think that I do not like to take trades like this that have a very low risk reward ratio, because of the fact that when you have scenarios like this, you can lose a lot more than you can make. We will lose 8.89% versus we'll make 6.49% if it goes our way. But if we're playing the gray zone, now we have the benefit of the blue overlapping in the gray zone. That gives us some support there. We also have the gray zone itself should act as support as well. We also have the 12-hour. If we go to the 12-hour, we have the Ichimoku Cloud right around this zone as well, with the 12-hour Tenkin inside of that zone as well. The Kijun is below that zone though, so this is important to be aware of, because we could end up going down to the 12-hour Kijun, because when we see on the Ichimoku Cloud indicator, when the Kijun starts to go flat, and this is something that I'll cover in a future video when we learn about the Ichimoku Cloud, when this starts to go flat, it acts as a magnet to price. So the price wants to trade into that level. And so that's below the gray zone. So what I might even do is I might modify my stop loss and put it below that level, because then it's still a good risk reward trade. Even if we go up to there, if we put it, if we modify it slightly to be right about there, so it's below the red line, we still have above a 2 risk reward ratio. And so in my opinion, that is still a good trade to take, and there's a lot of support in this zone. If we pull up the VPVR indicator, you can also see that this is when we start to get pretty significant volume is in this zone. So once we come into this zone, there is going to be a lot of support, and so we'll see what ends up happening here. But there's liquidity below this low right here. So what that means is people have their stop losses below this low. So if we go below that low, this is going to push us right into this support zone, confluent with the inverse head and shoulders pattern, the VPVR indicator, the daily gray zone, as well as the daily blue zone. And so I really like that trade. Let's go over to Ethereum now and talk about Ethereum real quick. If we start off on the weekly time frame here for Ethereum, we also had the same exact pattern that we had on Bitcoin with our higher low in price, but a lower low in the RSI, meaning that this is what's called a hidden bullish divergence, and this is bullish for price. So we already confirmed that, but you can see on the weekly time frame we're starting to trade down from our ultimate high. But something that I'm watching on Ethereum is this 12-hour trend that we just changed to bullish. And so I'm very bullish on ETH if we go into this blue zone. And you can see I already have the long tool pulled up here, but we have our low, high, higher low, and then higher high right here. And we have 2 3-day candles closing above this black candle right here. And so what that tells us is this black zone, this black candle, is going to act as a strong support level for us. Let's see if there's any pivot levels anywhere. It does not show us on the time frame. Oh, yes. So on the, if we also, this is the other reason why I like this trade. If we look at the pivot level right here, it is almost perfectly in line with the body of that 3-day candle that we see right here. And that's right around $1,572. If we get down to that level, that is a very strong support level for the bulls. The way I'm playing this is putting my stop loss below the 3-day level here, which is down at about $1,456. If we go up to the 1-day time frame, you can see that we're starting to trade down after already changing this daily trend and having a significant run up here over the past several days. We're now currently trading down and trying to push into this blue zone. Now, the other thing about this blue zone is if you compare it to the Bitcoin price action, this is something I always like to do when I'm looking at ETH, is where is Bitcoin going to be roughly if Ethereum, where is Ethereum going to be if Bitcoin pushes down to this gray and blue zone? Well, if Bitcoin pushes down to that gray blue zone, that's about 6 or 7% from where we currently are. If we go to ETH and we look at what's 6 to 7% from here, it's right inside of this blue zone. And even if we pushed further, because ETH might go a little bit more bearish than Bitcoin, you're still inside that blue zone. We would have to drop over 15% from the current price for me to get stopped out on this trade. And so that's one of the reasons why I really like this trade. If we also look at the Ichimoku Cloud, both the Tenkan and the Kijun are inside of this area as well. So this is something that I am currently watching for a trade on the day. If you're playing this on the daily time frame, you can keep in mind if you're on the free version of TradingView that on the 3-day time frame, the 3-day level 3-day level starts at the top of this white candle from March 3rd, and it goes down to the bottom of that white candle. And so that's the 3-day support zone. And then the 1-day support zone, this is like our zone of last, basically the bull's last line of defense, for this support zone to hold, is this black zone right here. And that's this last down candle before this push up. If we go to the 12-hour time frame, we can see that we are currently, let me get rid of some of this stuff so we can see a little bit better. We are currently pushing down, and we had this run up in price, and every time that we had a push down, it was very short-lived. We had a high here, a low, almost barely below the low of the previous candle. Then we pushed above and closed above. Then we pushed above, we came down, had a very short-lived drop, pushed above again. So we were extremely bullish here. But then since that point, we've, we came up, down again here, and we closed both of these candles below this white candle right here. So I want to just talk about this real quick. So this is a resistance zone that we are currently rejecting off of this white candle right here that I did not even notice last night, which would have been a really good short entry, as you can see, because once we changed this trend, so we had our high, low, we had another high, and then we had a lower low right here. Well, actually, I wouldn't have taken this trend because it technically doesn't fit in my strategy, but we had a lower low, and then we pushed into the zone and we rejected off it. So we're currently rejecting off of this zone right here, which is this white candle from March 9th, and we're pushing into an 8-hour support level right here, which is this black candle from March 8th that we already pushed into once and pushed off of. So the more times we test this level, the weaker it's going to get. So we could potentially, hold on this level right now, but that is assuming that Bitcoin, I have like 50 Bitcoin charts up. If you look at the Bitcoin chart, like that's assuming that we don't, break this daily low here on Bitcoin and we end up just going up from here. But I think the more likely scenario is potentially that if Bitcoin goes down, Ethereum is going to continue to trade down on the daily time frame and go down into this blue zone at a minimum. And so that is what I am currently watching on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you like this video, give us a like, subscribe for future updates on different educational content that we post around cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. And until next time, onward and upward.